Bonjour tout le monde, this is Gascon-en-exil, and welcome to my first ever attempt at live streaming or doing a let's play of any video game ever. In this case, obviously, the indie SRPG Dark Deity that just released today on Steam. I chose this as a good first opportunity for me to try out streaming because I'm very unfamiliar with how this all works. I'm just now trying out the software for recording like tonight, and I think that matches up well with this being the first time project of the game developer here, Sword and Axe LLC, who have put out this lovely tribute to classic genre SRPGs. And to be quite honest, by that I of course mean Fire Emblem. That's another reason why I've been following Dark Deities for the last couple of months now, and am very excited about its release because it is very much in the spirit of Fire Emblem, and I think I have a lot of followers on Tumblr, and I'm slowly acquiring them on YouTube, and I think most of them do tend to gravitate toward games like that. So I thought that showing that off would be a fun exercise, not just for me to kind of learn the ropes of how this works, but also to share this game with you guys and encourage you to pick it up if it interests you. It's currently available on Steam, and I believe they're doing a 20% off discount for the launch that goes until I think June 22nd. So you've got about a week on that if you haven't fully decided. But I did want to play through the first chapter and just kind of show how this works. To be quite honest, this is not my very first experience with the game. I did play through chapter 1 once before recording this. I wanted to get a feel for it myself so I didn't embarrass myself too thoroughly, because I'm learning about this game as you guys are. It is still very new. It's, like I said, it's a new developer. And even though it is very heavily FE inspired, there are a lot of systems that are, of course, different from FE itself. So I wanted to get a feel for those. Now, the only unfortunate thing about this recording is that I had to turn the music off because I'm not quite familiar with how to get the audio levels correct, and I didn't want the music drowning out my voice. And that's really a shame, because the music in this game so far that I've heard is quite excellent for an indie game and just really sets the mood. And so I would encourage, that's another thing for you to look into if you're exploring this game yourself. Although I think my streaming style is going to somewhat match my preferences when I'm watching other people play video games, namely that I don't tend to like a lot of commentary when story stuff is going on, and there is at least some of that even early on. So I'm mostly going to be talking like to explain systems and when I'm actually playing the game, but when it's the story cutscenes going on, I'm going to stay quiet and just let you guys enjoy that. But without further ado, let's get into a new game. Now, if you're a longtime follower of me on Tumblr, you know that I'm not a hardcore difficulty person, so I'm going to play on the easiest difficulty, the one here called Mortal. And then over here, just to let you know, we have Hero, which is, I assume, normal mode, and Deity, which, again, probably maps to Hard or Maniac or something like that. I don't pursue that kind of difficulty, but, if that's something you're interested in, go for it. I have not really explored this button down here, the one that says Campaign Customization, but there's a lot of options here, including some things that seem to be popular in the FE modding community, like you have Recruitment Order, you can change that, you can have randomized classes, randomized weapons, you can have I believe aptitudes are the equivalent of growth rates in Fire Emblem, and I believe this is a choice between like basically random versus fixed. I'm not quite certain on that. And then you can see some other ones over here, but I'm going to leave everything as is for now. I may decide to tinker around with that on future playthroughs, but for now I'm just sticking with the basic on the lowest difficulty, because I'm mostly concerned with getting down the gameplay and showing that off to you guys, and also showing off the story and the characters, which seem to be particularly interesting to me, or at least, interesting enough for a project like this. Anyway, let's get into it. Yes. So, nice little artwork. That's... okay. Okay. So as far as basic plot information goes, I do find it kind of interesting that you seem to be on the aggressor nation side. At least that's how the opening text scroll presents it. And you also have an officers academy, which, I mean, I'm not quite sure when this game started development, but let's just say that's a popular topic in the Fire Emblem community, thanks to a certain recent release, semi-recent anyway. It's been 2 years. I'm really feeling the lack of music here, but like I said, whenever I had it on, no matter what, I just I was fighting with the music, and it just sounded ridiculous. So anyway, gonna save. I do like the large map. It's very pretty, except for that area that looks like a hurricane. Oh, anyway, okay.
What? Right. Don't worry.
Yep. Aw, come on!
Great. Pace yourself.
Yep.
Anyway, I think that little swirl in the middle there looks like a hurricane, which is mildly disturbing to me, New Orleans, but well. I do happen to know that Galen here is Garrick's older brother. So, just a little bit of information there.
It'll be all right. No fair.
Oh, I'm sorry. Galen is his father. I got that little mistake, but sometimes ages can be hard to tell with character portraits like these. Okay. So here we have our first chapter, which is a mock battle. We have our 4 characters over here. Various other characters, well, not characters, but enemy units here. You can see all the way over here to Sterling, who I'm fairly sure, and I don't think I'm messing this one up, I'm fairly sure that's Irving's older brother. Also, they happen to have a little room with other trainees down here, which I think is funny because it doesn't have any impact on the battle, but it's just a cute little effect. Let's see. So, and you can kind of see some controls on the bottom of the screen, like you can press Y to see the enemy ranges, like that. But just a quick little rundown of each of the characters and some of the basic mechanics, which I think would be probably the most entertaining. You can right-click to get unit listings, and you can kind of cycle through them like that. So you got basic classes. You have most of the stats will be familiar to Fire Emblem players. Power, they even call it true speed, like attack speed, crit, accuracy, dodge, all that kind of stuff. Ranges, it's pretty standard. Our ranger himself, Garrick, has 2 range. Mages have 1 to 2 range, and then the others have 1. By the way, Marin is a cleric, but she has a hammer, which I think is definitely different. And speaking of hammers and things of that nature, you will probably notice these 2 colored icons at the top of each thing. That's the top. The top one is basically their damage type, while the bottom one is their armor type. And if you notice when you mouse over the damage type, it shows different percentages versus different types of armor, which is this game's stand-in for the weapon triangle. Now, I will say that just having played through the first chapter, it's not the most intuitive thing in the world, because you do have to, like, if we're getting at this, you'll notice that each enemy also has those same icons over it. The good news, though, is that the game does some of the work for you. Like if I mouse over Garrick, you'll see a little down arrow on these enemies, so he'll do slightly less damage to them, but higher damage on the one that has the little green up arrow. So it's, even though it's more complex than Fire Emblem's weapon triangle, I do think it's a bit more intuitive that way, and I realize this is the first chapter and things are going to get a lot more complicated from here on out, but I just thought that was something important to explain in terms of how this works. Now, going back to character stuff, oopsie, did not intend for that. Now, every character has a personal skill, which you may know from Fates and Three Houses. It's over here, like Alden here is basically our Donald or Cyril equivalent, because he has a skill that boosts his growth rates, essentially, or his level ups. He's kind of got like a standard avatar lord thing, and Irving is the main character / lord of this game, so that makes sense. Garrick has boosted crit, and Marin has a weaker version of Live to Serve from Fates, or Mercedes Personal from Three Houses. In terms of weapons, I'm not quite sure how all of these work, but it does seem that each character is equipped with these 4 weapons at all times, and they can swap between them during combat, and they each have little differences. And I know that one of the major progression systems of this game is that you choose one of the 4 to kind of upgrade your weapon that way, and you have that in place of like weapon inventory. So there's no like iron swords, and that means of course no durability either. So I know some people will be happy about that, because that's a bit of a controversial system. The actual inventory tends to contain like HP restoring things of that nature, which kind of tend toward a little bit of funny tooltips like baked beans. That one just doesn't sound pleasant. And that one just kind of sounds silly. Another meatball. Goodness. In terms of classes, at least to start, we've got Irving as a warrior. He's, frontline tank. Garrick is our ranger, kind of standard archer, 2 range only. Alden is the mage, pretty obvious. And Marin is a cleric. She does have the basic heal skill, but unlike in Fire Emblem, most Fire Emblem games, she can attack right away with her hammer, which is kind of funny to watch, as I will show. Actually, I think I'm going to make her my first move, because I do have a soft spot for clerics. So you just kind of move it like that, and let's see. Pick you. Oh, that was satisfying. In a, bashing someone. Okay. So, there we go. And I did also see those little hearts that go over people's heads, which I assume are how you build bond conversations, which are the equivalent of supports from Fire Emblem. There we go.
Are you sure?
And like I said, you can shift through the different weapon types. Like he has Arcane Blast right now, but I can change it to Force, Beam, or Arcane Missiles. And then you see the different stats here. I'll do that one because it's the most accurate. Although, it's basically you're choosing which weapon. And the interesting thing, at least for magic, I haven't noticed it as much with with physical weapons, is that the animation will change based on what spell they use. So I think that's kind of funny. Or not funny, a nice perk, a nice touch. There we go. Streaming for the first time. I'm much more comfortable going off a script here. So let's go ahead and do that. There we go. Nice dodge. Okay. And everyone has moved, so I'm going to hit enter. You can enter automatically, but in Fire Emblem I tend to prefer not doing that. sure what the E's and the A's and B's stand for in the top screen. I guess I'll figure that out. Okay. So, let's continue. Let's try a different spell. Okay.
How can I help? We've got you.
And that was a heal, by the way. That's the cleric's kind of personal skill that all clerics have. Each class has a different one. Warriors have the equivalent of shove that you'll see in some other games, whereas Rangers have, let's see if I can do it, haste, which grants extra movement range.
Chop chop!
Like that. And show off push.
Hope you don't mind.
It does that. And then... Okay. Oh. Looks like I got an achievement for that. Huh. I guess for doing no damage.
How can I help?
Alright, let's take care of some of these guys. He can't quite do it, but I'll go with the high crit option. That is one thing I don't care for as much, that like if the UI covers up the enemy, it can be hard to do that. Well, that's unfortunate. That does not look like a crossbow, but oh well. Let's see. Can Alden finish? Yes, he can. I do like arcade music.
I've got a lot to learn.
Not bad. Oh well, I guess we'll talk about stats at some other date. There we go.
Today is just not their day.
I did think that was kind of funny that I've heard Garrick make commentary when somebody close to him defeats an enemy, which I just thought was cute. Okay. Now, mages have phase, which is their class skill, but I'm not currently sure how to really use it. It's supposed to be a short-range warp, and I know it's been confirmed in developer commentary that it's the closest thing the game has to warp, because warp can be so broken and centralizing the way Fire Emblem does it. But I don't quite know how to activate it. See, it's kind of grayed out here, so you can't hit it. So anyway, I will have Marin advance and heal.
When you're ready, follow me.
And I will let Garrick get the kill here. See, that I do kind of not care for sometimes how the UI can kind of get in the way of your attempts to move. Okay. So we're just gonna move.
I'll take point.
Good for you. Let's see. What's the distance on that mage?
Together.
I'll just. And we will end turn. You know, a couple of things I do appreciate about this is that, for one thing, they are like the first chapter is a lot more generous with movement ranges than Fire Emblem tends to be, and also that you get characters of the 4 of the 6 class sets. Really experiment.
Ready for whatever lies ahead.
Oh, go Irving. Okay.
It's good to be me.
You know,
Let's do it.
I'm just noticing now that Alden is very clearly voiced by a woman. But, oh well. I think he's supposed to be 14, so, you know, that happens. Okay. You definitely need to heal.
We've got you. I think I can be proud of this. Let's do it.
Let's have you weaken somebody over here. Let's try a different... Oh, goodness. Go you. Short bow. You can tell I'm still getting a feel for the different weapons available, but I think it's something you pick up as
I'll
you
take
play
point.
through the game. I am not going to have him. Let's see. Can he have him use his blood orange and then. Okay.
Are you sure?
I think I will have him soften up the boss. Let's see. What's his best option? Probably that one. See? It can be quite annoying. Okay. Let's have her wait. Maybe you can finish? There we go. Alright.
Was that really necessary?
What would you do without me?
Okay. Now, weapon tokens, as far as I'm aware, are what are used to build up the 4 weapon options you have available that I discussed earlier. I assume that's a system that will be explained later. And then at the end, they give you all this information on, you know, damage dealt, healing, and all that stuff, which is interesting if you're into that sort of thing. Anyway.
Well done.
You really think so?
Tell me.
Okay. So I do believe... Okay, here we go. I was wondering when I would get the opportunity to save it. It is a little unusual that you get the save prompt after the chapter name. But anyway, I did want to do that, take care of that, and kind of call it there because I do only want to do one chapter at a time, and I just want to see how this turns out. Let's scroll back here and get back to the main menu. Okay, so that was my first ever Let's Play / live stream, or whatever you want to call it, and Chapter 1 of Dark Deity. I hope you guys enjoyed watching this, and watched me kind of fumble my way through this process. I will catch you guys for next time for Chapter 2. Maybe hopefully it'll be a little bit more polished at that time. This is a learning experience for me. But overall, yeah, I think this game already has a lot of promise. I haven't played anything past Chapter 1, but I'm excited to continue, and I will catch you then. So, au revoir.